In this clip, I'm going to talk about half a dozen reasons why I love noodle soups of all types and varieties. I'm talking about ramen, pho, udon, or just generic noodle soups of all shapes and sizes with no geographical restrictions whatsoever. Heyo, Zenpuck here. On this episode of PuffNHuff, I'm going to talk about noodle soups, one of my favorite things in the world. My god. Why do I love it so? Number one, it is relatively easy to make, at least if you're not too picky about the noodles and the broth and the fillings. Okay, so pretty much all the standard ingredients of the noodle soup. But I'd say the variability is what contributes to the versatility of the dish, and it's so immense that there's some level appropriate for everyone, from college kids to Michelin star chefs, right? I mean, that's where I fit in. I really just started putting dropping an egg into the instant noodles and then adding some hot dogs, and it just kept growing and growing from there. I mean, I love the variety. Okay. Number two, it's comforting because it's mostly a soup, right? For that reason, it might just be nostalgic for me personally because my mom used to feed me, noodle soups or soups a lot. But I think, this qualifies for Americans too, right? Because Americans eat chicken soup when they're having a cold or something. Does that count as a noodle soup? I think so. I mean, it's in a can, but hey, why not? It counts. Number three, usually the way I make noodle soups is I just use leftovers, right? Whatever you have in terms of vegetables or meat from the night before, you just throw it on in there, and this makes it extremely efficient from a non-waste point of view, okay? Bonus reason on the efficiency side, usually you just throw, water or pasta or noodles of some sort and your leftovers into a big pot, so at the end of it, you only have one pot to wash and probably only one bowl as well. Very efficient in terms of cleanup as well, okay? Number four, well, what does a noodle soup taste like? Well, this is one of the great things about noodle soups. It can be spicy, it can be curry-y, it can be savory, it can lean on the sweeter side if you'd like. Really, whatever taste profile that you want, okay? Just throw in some of that condiment of your choice into a big pot of water that's boiling, and the soup will eventually taste something like, whatever you prefer. Number five, another positive of this being a soup rather than dry pasta, it's filling without being overwhelming, right? Because at the end of the meal, you could drink the soup or you cannot, or you can drink half the soup, right? Some people think that it's only appropriate for cold weather eating because drinking a warm soup makes you sweat a bit, but I'd like to disagree. Even on a hot summer day, a good soup sweat is a different type of cleansing, to be honest. I mean, I also like my food on a little bit spicier side. Hot soup that's spicy, my god, it makes you sweat in a different way than, sitting outside under the sun sweating. It's just different. So, still feels good in the summertime. And finally, number six, at least this is a very personal reason. When I make my own noodle soups, which is with whatever leftovers that I've got, it really creates a very unique flavor for every single concoction, right? And I love surprises. I think this is the strict bottom line reason why I love noodle soups is sometimes I'll have, venison sausages in there, sometimes I'll have ramen eggs, sometimes I'll have a poached egg, or sometimes I'm using the fatty bits of a ribeye to flavor my soup, and sometimes I'll have, actual chicken bones or pork bones in there. It's just there's so much variety, and every time it comes out a little differently. And with this type of continuous innovation, you'll never be bored. And that's one thing about eating, right? You don't want to, only eat one thing that's always the same. With noodle soups, it's so easy to make a brand new concoction. And one day maybe I'll find my perfect version of a noodle soup flavor. But it's not that important to me because every day when I eat noodle soups, it's a surprise. And to me, that's the most wonderful thing about it. I hope you guys agree with me. Let me know if you agree with the comment below, or check out some of my other videos on the corners. Cheers.